is the Jim and Terry Show, coming to you from the Bobcaygeon Hobbit Hole Studio, where life is grand. The streets are paved with gold. Everything is wonderful. I forget where the rest of that analogy was going. The Wizard of Oz, peeking behind the curtain maybe. Look at the Emperor has no clothes. Whether it is how we perceive life or how we choose to receive life, I think that is the important question. Choosing. How do we choose? And today I would like to focus on having just purchased my first online book. I like print. I like black ink on vellum, on different kinds of paper. I like all the things to do with the industry. Maybe it's because my father owned a small print shop in the East End of Toronto. Maybe it's because I grew up sweeping the floors in that print shop. Maybe it's because I learned how to typeset using the old school fonts that you had to put together manually, individual letters. Talk about trying to organize something to print when you had to do typesetting line by line, and the type was like 6-point font. I could barely see it. I don't know how old typesetters did it unless they had magnifying glasses on their heads to see some of these things. Anyway, I'm old school is what I'm trying to say. I like print. I like lithography. I like the old presses that we used to see. You know how the old newspapers used to be printed one sheet at a time, and you'd have to check it all, proofread it all, have editors, have proofreaders, have typesetters, have printers, have the people who put the ink on the platen press. I love the sound of the old platen press. We used to have an old Heidelberg in my father's shop. We had a couple of them. And it was the first one that I learned to operate. I was never inclined mechanically, not like some of my other brothers who excel in that kind of stuff. For me, it was just trying to understand the basics of too much pressure crushes type, too much pressure breaks stuff, not enough pressure gives too little of an ink coverage, and you can't even see what you printed on the sheet. It was all that kind of stuff. I was interested in really the processes and understanding, not in the operation per se. What does all this print history have to do with anything? I purchased my first online book. The book is from a website that both my good friend Jim, here's a shout out, cheers, clink clink, and ASMR. That's my ASMR fetish coming through there. All the things that go... I don't know what it is, but they make the hair on my neck stand up, so I'm trying to do some of that here as well. But that's not the main point. The main point is I bought an online book. Oh, I don't know. I'd like to think that I was a Luddite at one point in my life, or pre-existing life. Not that I believe in reincarnation. Maybe I don't, because I don't want to be one of those ones who gets in the way of progress and making life better for more people and helping create goodness and progress. But I did it. I sold my soul to the digital corporation and bought an online book. How much of that goes to the author? I don't know. I'd like to see a breakdown of cost and whether it's better for the author if all this stuff actually went more proceeds to the author than a small percentage. Is it like songwriting where so little of it goes to the musician? I protested that. I think I told you that I joined the Neil Young, pulled my whole discography off of, the name of the website escapes me at the moment, but I pulled my discography down in protest. I didn't want to, I think it was because Joe Rogan got this unusual contract from them. So I took my stuff down. Damn the machine, curse the machine, protest. Yeah, I took it to the streets. I voted with my feet. I removed all my online content. It's now only available on the terrywigmore.com. Wix and SoundCloud are the two places I inhabit online presence. Online, that's a theme. House of L is the person, and this person is a computer science PhD, so I'm interested because what I wanted to explore this year in 2026 was AI, partly because I have a brother who's enriched his life, both enhanced and enriched, his life by looking at learning the skill set of AI. And in his terms, he's not a writer, he's not a musician, but he can talk about things, events in his life, maybe even end up with his own biography of his life, expressed in song. And that to me is exciting, and that's what AI is supposed to be able to do for us. AI serves humanity, not humanity serves AI. House of L, to get back to this PhD in computer science, and eventually I will get on to learning some AI myself. Self-note, sticky note on the fridge, learn something about AI this year in 2026. Not that the Jim and Terry Show will ever be replaced. Here's my ASMR. Did you hear that? That's my token ASMR. Boy, I'm going madly off in all directions this morning. House of L. Why am I interested in this? Because critical thinking is something, as an educator, a career educator, something that I've always tried to teach my students. How to take your research. So you start broad, generally, you narrow the focus, you find your evidence, you organize your evidence, you organize counter arguments, people who would say something, yeah, but to you, what you wanted to say, and you have to show that you have at least encountered or tried to encounter contrary opinions and marshaled some kind of defense against those, all in the quest of trying to show a balance in perspective. Critical thinking doesn't mean ignoring the stuff that you don't agree with. It is all about embracing the thorny stuff. That's THORNY, in case anybody was thinking something else. The thorny stuff, the stuff that pricks your fingers and gives you, ouch, oh, that hurt. I wonder why that hurt. Because that moment is a moment of clarity. And we live in, what do I call it? Days of haze. H-A-Z-E. Days of haze, where things are not clear. And in fact, I don't think the media's role is to clarify anything. I think it is all about clicks, likes, shares, and getting the number of people on your audience to rise. And yeah, how many subscribers do you have? Well, I'm glad to report that the Jim and Terry Show is still at the rock bottom of the barrel. And I guess that is evidence of either we are, well, I'm going to say it's evidence that we are true to ourselves, as Shakespeare would say. To thine own self be true. The Jim and Terry Show, we have not compromised our beliefs. Have we, Jim? Send me an email or a comment below. House of L, getting back to it, is looking at, much like the Tom Nichols Death of Expertise, it's looking at why critical thinking seems to be such a challenge in our present time. Present time meaning this is 2025, end of, looking forward to 2026. And what is the issue? Why can't we figure this stuff out? Why is Orange Jesus still the president? Why isn't he being impeached 3 or 4 times? Why is he still in office? Will his fingernails be on the desks of the Resolute desk as they drag him out of office? Will he be prosecuted? Will he be a criminal? Well, he's already indicted co-conspirator with Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen did the time for the crime. The president did not. That's not one justice for all. It is something abhorrent. And to Trump say that he believes Russia's interested in helping Ukraine. What? How can you say this stuff? Yeah, okay, so what's going on when tens of millions of Americans and some millions of Canadians believe this stuff to be true? On what basis, on what grounds of critical thinking can you stand there with a serious look on your face and say, yes, I believe that's true? Yeah, it's incredible stuff. I'm going to read a little excerpt, something that helped me understand her analysis of critical thinking. This is on page 83 of the book, and it is under a section that she calls, What Does Poor Critical Thinking Look Like? And she says, it's everywhere. Here's the quote. Sometimes it looks like volume in a conversation, shouting a point so loudly or talking over other people so quickly that no one has a chance to ask what it's built on. Other times it looks like confrontation or confidence, overconfidence, declaring something obvious and treating anyone who questions it as a fool. It can look like parroting of someone else's opinion, an influencer, a news anchor, a podcast host, and repeating it so smoothly that it sounds like it's your own view, but it's just you repeating. When pressed, there's nothing underneath. No scaffolding, no test of truth, no evidence. Is it a test of truth, or is it just an echo of borrowed belief? It often feels urgent, emotional, reactive, as though the more strongly we feel about something, the more right we must be. But feeling is not evidence, and reaction is not reason. You can feel completely certain and still be completely wrong. Poor thinking doesn't always announce itself as ignorance, or with ignorance. Often it disguises itself as moral clarity and common sense. Oh boy, two of my big triggers. Common sense. Yeah, I used to believe in it until it was taken over by the far right and the moral majority, the Jerry Falwells. And, oh, don't get me started. Jim and Terry Show signing off. Got a new book. Look for more of it.